Hi everyone, this is our data visualization, and we used a Kaggle dataset of all of the NBA players since 1950 and their stats by season. We trimmed this to start at 1979 when the three-pointer was added to standardize our statistics and went all the way up until 2017. So here you can see we've plotted our NBA teams on the x-axis and then points per game on the y-axis. And each of the players are represented by a dot in the scatter plot, and they are horizontally sorted by team and then vertically sorted by their average points per game in that corresponding year. And we notice that certain teams here are blank because team names change over time, so in the corresponding year, a certain team may not have had any players. We also have this legend in the top right, so we have color-coded our dots based on the points per game that they represent by the player, and then we broke this down basically as 0 to 9 points per game is generally a bench player, 10 to 19 could be a starting rotation player, 20 to 24 would be an all-star reserve generally, and then 25 plus are some of the most elite players in the league and usually all-star starters. And then we also have this hover feature here, so when we hover over a point we can get additional information like the player name, the age, team, points per game, assists per game, games played in the season, and then different field goal and shooting percentages as well. We could change our view by year. So here we're looking at all the NBA players who played in 2017, and say we want to go and look at a different year, say 1979, when the first three-pointer was added. We can see guys like Marcus Johnson, we can see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar over here. So we can use this hover feature along with the year to look at players across different ages. And if we want to compare players over their careers, we can go through each year of their careers. So if we want to look at 2017, we have John Wall here. We can look at how he scored 23 points a game that year, and then we can go back a year and see, okay, he only averaged 19 a game, so he was still improving and going into his prime. And we can use this to compare players over their careers or players in different decades as well. So we can see general trends here. In 2017, we have more than 10 players averaging over 25 points per game, whereas in 1970s and 80s, we only have really 4 or 5 top players averaging 25 points per game. So that's another insight we can notice. With our drop-down box here, we have a points per game minimum, so if we want to see how many players scored over, let's say, 25 points per game, this will pull out all those players. And then we can reset this back to 0 if we want to go back. And this helps us filter out players that only scored over a certain points per game each year. So we can do this for every year if we want. So we can go back to 1979 and look at how many players scored above 25 points per game, only 4.